Yes, so you have its kennel or crate placed at a very convenient location, and you've put its water in there and you've put its food in there. That's the first step. Now, the second is to control its movement or control its freedom. Now, this is not imprisonment. This is not slavery, so don't get it wrong, right? In every household, you have the time that everyone is supposed to go to sleep. So it's time for bed. You have the time everyone is supposed to eat. It's time for breakfast. It's time for lunch. It's time for dinner. You have all of these parameters set in any disciplined home where you want to maintain good law and order and structure. So you want to be able to have a similar structure for your dog. So you want to give it a routine kind of life. And when you do this right at the beginning, you are setting it up for success. You are setting it up to become a dog that's going to be of value to you and your household rather than be a burden to you and your household. So it's very important to set such parameters. So you're going to have to control the time that it eats, and you're going to have to control the time that it's free to come out and just be itself. And usually at the beginning, you want these to blend with your availability. So let's say you bring a dog home for the first time and then you found it its space. Let's say a poodle, for example. So you live indoors with this poodle and it has a spot where its crate is situated. You put water in there so it can drink water anytime it wants. You decide 7 a.m. breakfast, 1 p.m. lunch, 7 p.m. supper, and you try to stay true to these time periods that you have given. So what happens is in the mornings, you open the crate and you let it out to run around because you are available. So when you let it out and it does all of these things, then you know that in an hour it's going back in there to eat because you let it out at 6 a.m., right? So now it's 7 and its food is ready. It's in a bowl, it's in the crate. It goes in there and it eats. As soon as it's done eating, you let it back out and let it run around and you empty its bowl. You empty its bowl because you want to make sure that it understands it's supposed to eat at a specific time. If you do not empty the bowl and you leave it there because it's left some surplus, yes, it's going to go back later and finish it up, and it's going to grow with a mentality that that's how it's allowed to eat. It can eat a little bit and always go back and finish off anytime it wants. But you don't want it to have that mentality, so you put the food in there at 7, you put it in there and it eats. And when it gives the impression it's full and it wants to come out, allow it to come out, take the bowl out and then empty the rest and then leave the water and then let it play for a bit. It might poo and pee again, especially when they're puppies. And when it's done, you can put it back in the crate and then you can leave it there until it's lunchtime. So what would have happened is you would have allowed it to play for an hour and a half roughly in the morning, maybe at most 2 hours in the morning in your presence, and then you put it back in its crate. When it's lunchtime, you repeat the cycle. So it's 1 p.m., you let it out. Whilst it's running around, you go to get its food and you put the food in the crate. It goes in there, it eats as much as it can, and then you take out the remainder and you allow it to run around a little bit after eating. After maybe 30 minutes, you put it back in the crate until it's supper time. And when it's supper time, you repeat the same. When it's 6 p.m., you take it out the crate, allow it to run around, prepare its food, put the food in there by 7, and when it eats at 7, let it out. Let it run around a little bit. If it wants to poo and pee, it can go ahead. And when it's done doing all of that and playing for maybe another hour, you put it back in, because usually you're more available in the mornings than in the evenings. So in the evenings, you can let it play about 2 hours. And then you put it back in the crate until breakfast time the next morning. Well, in the evenings, you may be at home much more, and so you may want to play with it a lot more. So you're allowed to let it out and play with it all evening until you're ready to go to bed. When you're ready to go to bed, you put it back in its crate, and then you go to bed, and you repeat the cycle in the morning. What this does is it teaches the dog the routine. You do this for a week and the dog understands the routine, and naturally every aspect of its life adjusts to this routine. If it took it too long to poo and pee the first day that you did it. By the fifth day, it's going to poo and pee on instinct. As soon as it comes out, it's going to run, do its poo poo, do its pee pee, come eat. And when it's done, if it needs to go again, it's going to run, do its poo poo, do its pee pee. And then, it's ready to go in anytime you're ready to put it in. So you just need to repeat this and it becomes second nature to the dog. And it looks forward to it. Sometimes you'll forget and it'll make sounds in its crates to remind you, and you can go out, let it free, and it can go and then do these things.